Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of the Breadback podcast. I'm your girl Remi Ray.
And it's me, the one and only White Yardie.
And we have a phenomenal guest in the building. Family friend, mentor's husband, but a professional psychotherapist.
There we go.
Is that right? I'm dyslexic. He's dyslexic. This is a dyslexic podcast. I want to talk mental health, psychotherapy, black man in this field, an anomaly.
Historically, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's changing.
Everything's always changing anyway.
So tell us who you are. Give us a little intro.
A little intro. All right. My name is Nathaniel Oke.
Yeah.
Not Oke. Not Oke. Not Oke.
Okay.
Nathaniel Oke.
Okay.
So imagine it's O and Ke.
Yeah.
Put together. Okay. I'm a psychotherapist working for the last 13 years. And I own a company called Talking Therapy Clinic. And we provide one-to-one group therapies, provide training, provide different bespoke training packages.
Yeah.
Function, different things we provide in order to support anyone that needs the assistance.
Corporates, individuals, us.
The training, corporates and individuals.
Nice.
The one-to-one therapy is individuals, couples. It can be facilitated by organizations and corporates for their staff. So we are quite flexible and we work in different fields in order to be able to facilitate that for corporates and individuals as well.
Where did it begin? Where did the journey begin?
Ooh, the journey of starting doing it or the journey of the inspiration behind it?
Let's talk about inspiration.
Okay. I was going to say it's a long story, but you know.
Better shorten it, okay?
Yeah.
Wordplay, I like it. It started when I was 16. And when I was 16 years old, first year of college, excited and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, I went to all boys secondary school.
Wow.
So when college started and,
Girls.
when college started and you're open to different people.
Girls.
And what happened one summer, I had a few female friends coming to me with certain issues that they'd been through. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about childhood trauma, abuse. And I was 16 and I was like, okay, what? And these are, at one point, I had about 4 different people, unrelated, at different independent times, coming to me, telling me about what they've gone through. And most of them, it was the first time they've ever said it.
Wow.
What? So I'm curious, what made them
gravitate to you?
Yeah, like what impression did you give off to feel like you were?
You know what? That's a very good
the
question.
Agony uncle.
That's at 16, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, at 16.
At 16, the beautiful thing about it is I asked myself the same question, but in a different way, which was, why are these people coming to me? And if they are, I need to be well trained to be able to deal with it. And I've got a firm belief in the universe and our connection with the universe. Yeah. So for me, it was my way of saying, all right, someone is trying to tell me something. So whatever they're trying to tell me, let me take heed of it.
Yes.
So that is where the inspiration started. Obviously, I've taken a detour, I've gone on different journeys or whatever, but I found myself back in that spot. And I started training for it. And here I am, 13 or so years later, a professional psychotherapist. So yes, it started at 16.
Agony uncle.
Well, the interesting thing about being a psychotherapist is almost the opposite of agony uncle, because you're not even providing any advice to someone. You are guiding them to find the solution. Okay,
talk to us about that.
So imagine you're going through the dark and you haven't got a torchlight with you.
Okay.
So a psychotherapist is someone with a little torchlight that knows the surroundings, so is able to say, all right, you know what? You can't see where you're going. Let me put a torchlight in front of you.
Yeah.
Now you see where you're going and you decide where you want to go to. Right? So it's a guide.
So there's no end, really. It's just as long as you need this level of support.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you decide what support you need, how long you need it for. And interestingly, we are the opposite of business people, because a business person provides a function that makes you rely on them.
Yeah.
So you keep coming back.
Yeah.
We're the opposite. If the people that are doing it are doing it properly. What I mean by that is my job is to make you so independent that you don't need me anymore. I don't want a situation when I've got a client for 5 years. That means
Plus, I want to work with somebody that long.
No, it's not even that. It's for me, I need there to be a certain degree of autonomy for that person to feel that, you know what, I can go on this journey myself now.
That's amazing.
So when you, like, for instance, when you have a client, has there ever been, like, do they know exactly what they're coming for in the first place? Or is it, like, as you said, you have to shine the light? Sometimes are you shining light to trying to say, like, help them to find exactly, because some people might say, I need to see a psychologist, not psychotherapist. Or some people say, I just need therapy, I need to do this, I need counseling and whatnot. But they actually might not know the reasons why they need it, but they feel like, I need something.
Yeah. You know what? We've got our I call it about the 3 level of consciousness, right? We've got the unconscious, we've got the conscious, and you know, sometimes you kind of subconscious that it's not necessarily in the darkness. It's subconscious. You know, you kind of know it. You just need someone to help you, guide you through discovering it. Yeah. But as soon as you forget there, you'll be like,
oh, that was it. Yeah.
I knew it. Right? So you do have people that do come to me for all 3 levels of consciousness. There's certain people that come to me if they're perpetrators of domestic abuse. They know why they're here. They want to see their children. CAFCAS or the courts or social services that I've instructed them to seek a perpetrator program, and they come to me for that. So that's quite specific. Where I work with them and I write reports at the end of it for them to take to court and say it's basically a progress report where the judge would then determine whether actually you can see your family again, you're fit to see that again. So those ones, they know why they're there. There are others that just feel something's not right. Their normal life, their everyday life, there's just something
missing.
Doesn't feel right. And we all know when something doesn't feel right. We push it away, especially men, predominantly men. We push it away as long as possible, deny it. I call it the ostrich, when you just put your head in the sand and just be like, no, it's nothing. It's a bad day. It's cold. I'm just tired. I'm just hungry. You're looking for anything else apart from actually saying, you know what?
Something's wrong.
Something is wrong. I'm not feeling right. I'm down. I'm sad. And the things that give me joy doesn't give me joy anymore. So it's little things like that. Then you've got others that know something is kind of going on, know what it may be, but maybe they don't feel safe enough within themselves to actually acknowledge it. So you kind of know what it may be, but it's almost like when I say, for them, it makes it different. It makes it real.
You think sometimes it's because what it could be that they're coming for, or what it is that's problem is that they know that they have to deal with it. And that's the biggest fear, is probably dealing with that.
Imagine.
I feel like Harry's assessing himself right now.
No, listen. Just before you answer that.
It's good
before you answer that. You know, funny enough, I went to a therapist recently. Recommended by Remi. But do you know, I feel like I was assessing myself the whole time throughout.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Like I worked out things, and I was like, I was putting together, and I could see she was like, I was breaking down, and I was like, I feel like because of this and that happened, and back to like my childhood and my parents and that, and she was like, I think she was actually thinking, this guy, like,
but that's a beautiful thing. What you're doing there is, you know, in regards to your previous question about do people come in when they're aware or not, to a certain level of consciousness, you were aware of certain things that are going on, but you weren't ready to face it at certain times.
I was the nudge. Me.
So in regards to that, it will show itself in different ways, and people that are close to you probably see it.
Yeah,
you will know it, but at different times. One of my sayings to my clients is, when we know better, we do better. When you're ready, right? Yeah. There's no point in me as a psychotherapist. I may sit in front of you for 45 minutes and I already know certain things that are influencing your current state of mind.
Absolutely.
But me telling you at that point when I don't feel you're ready is basically just saying it for the sake of it.
Yeah.
You may not get to the point of realization until 5 sessions in on what I may have said in the first session. Because when a psychotherapist says certain things, it's just words. Without it connecting to your inner self, it just stays words. It's only when you're ready to hear it, you're ready to feel it, the impact is powerful.
Are you seeing an influx now of men, you know, like taking up services like yours?
I've got a great passion for men and mental health.
Yeah.
Because 75% of suicide rates in this country, 75%. Just think about it. In a room full of 10 people, right? And in a room, you know, 7.5 men in that room are the ones that are going to kill themselves, right? So you just think about it. That's just...
There's 4 of us in this room.
Yeah. So of all the suicide rate, right? Yeah. Out of men and women, 75%. Everything combined, 75% of that statistic are men. Usually young men as well. That are ending their lives. So for me, any opportunity I get, I always promote it. I've got an online Instagram live that I do.
You do, yeah.
Where I do almost like an hour of sessions. It's called the therapy hour on Instagram. And I had a guest on a couple of weeks ago that was talking about mental health and a man that went through struggles and his journeys with mental health.
Yeah.
So for me, men and mental health is the next frontier because it's just a ticking time. It's been a ticking time. It's been a ticking time bomb for probably about the last 30 years or something like that. But yes, I am finding that more men are, when you're peering through the check doors and everything, checking, is it okay? Is it safe for me? Yeah. Am I going to be accused of being moist if I just express myself?
See what you just said? I think that's one of the biggest things I feel for, especially young men as well. Because like, even for like in the Caribbean community, I know
African community.
I can speak on that.
For
me, I feel like, because as soon as you say mental, the thing brain, mad.
Yeah.
Mental. The word mental anyway is a.
But they associate with mad, so they feel like, all right, if you feel like, oh yo, I have some mental problem. Oh, you're mad. They say, and that's what they get worried about, that something's wrong with you. And that's why the fear of them coming to like people like you for the service is that scare. Is instead of dealing with it, they know they don't want to deal with what comes when they start dealing with it from friends and their peers or whatever. Like they don't want to be teased. They don't want to, you know what I mean? And something else that when you say about men, and this is something that I just want to ask, because you might be able to answer this, is how do you separate depression from like just being down?
Okay, that's a good question. With depression and being down, depression in itself, for it to class as depression, we look at the certain degrees of the effects of it and also the length of it.
Yeah.
If you're down in one moment, right? Listen, I've been down before. I'm down sometimes. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, what the hell's going on with me? Why am I feeling like this? The next day, I'm different. I'm better. So it's a moment in that time. For you to classify as depression, we'd have to look at the length of it. How ongoing is it?
Yeah.
So we're talking about days or weeks where you see more than just one sign of being down.
Yeah.
Lack of motivation. All right. Things you take enjoy, sleeping, it affects your sleeping patterns. Are the things you enjoy, usually you don't enjoy anymore. Like you go and watch football and you're like, no, I don't really want to.
Yeah.
A girl calls you that you like, and you'll be like, yeah, whatever. The things that you enjoy normally over a long period of time, you're not taking satisfaction from it anymore. So those are the telltale signs that we look at to determine whether you are dealing with depression or not, or whether you are dealing with certain things that is just in the moment. So that's why we ask certain questions, like, how long have you been feeling this way?
Yeah.
So if you tell me a month, I can ask you, what happened a month ago?
Yeah.
So if you tell me, a month ago I lost my job.
Trauma.
Okay. My girl left me. Okay. I can look at certain factors that would have affected that. If you get a job tomorrow,
would your mood change?
Yeah. Right? Because listen, if you don't feel down after you break up with a girl, then that girl wasn't the right person for you. It's as simple as that. If you're happy with, like, I've broken up with her, yay, then you're right to have broken up with her. She wasn't the one.
You missed the bullet.
You missed 2 bullets for that one. So definitely. So those are the ways. Now, for people that are not really sure about and they want to check themselves, on my website, we've got like a depression test that they can take. It's free of charge. A little assessment thing.
We'll put in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll put it in the description as well.
Yeah, so
I might go take it.
Yeah, no, I think regularly we should take it.
Because I feel depressed. Well, this is the reason why I ask this question, is because I know a lot of people always scream out that they go through depression.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to separate. Is it a down? Are you just feeling down? Or do you actually go through depression? And certain things you have said has kind of like made me think, okay, cool, I get that now. And I feel like maybe I have got, maybe not severe depression, but I do go through depression stages. You understand?
Yeah.
Because what you said, like certain things that I enjoy doing, I just feel down sometimes. I feel depressed when I don't want to do it. I don't want.
Lack of motivation.
Yeah, lack of motivation, things like that. So I'm gonna do the test. But like I said, it's because some people, especially with social media these days, as soon as somebody's having a down day, they will go on social media and be like, I'm going through depression. And that's why I feel like it's good for people to understand, to separate the both.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like people could be playing victim and for the wrong, like, not,
or they're using the word in a way where it becomes like desensitized after a while.
Most
and then
definitely.
it no longer has the same value.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's why I really wanted you to
that depression itself, you've got different forms as well. You've got depressive disorders that it's clinical depression, which is long lasting, right? So those are the kind of things that we look at and we test on and ask certain questionnaires. So if you go to your GP or you go to any counselor, they'll be doing certain questionnaires.
Yeah.
And the questionnaires is to determine whether you do have depression or not. And even if you don't have depression, it doesn't mean, oh, I haven't got depression, so see you later. There's something going on for you that you need support and assistance with. For me, I think we, and I say we as most of us, me included, we go through so much before we even seek help.
Yes.
And when you think about it, it's like, hold on a minute. Why do we feel like we need to endure as much pain as possible before we need help for it? No, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm sure you are, but you don't actually need to go through this. Yeah. If you go tooth pain, or whatever it is, you go to the dentist, like, listen, I need a codeine, modine, brodine, all of the deans you've got in there, pop in my mouth so I don't go through this pain. But you've got mental health issues or you feeling low. It's like, no, I'm okay. I can deal with it.
Yeah.
No, my guy, you're crying internally.
No, it's true.
Why are you going through it for? You don't need to. I feel
like we like pain in some capacity. Like,
well, we don't need to talk about that situation. But in regards to mental health and pain, I think sometimes I think you touched on it earlier when you're talking about what is the resistance to seeking therapy, which is you unraveling something. Am I going to be able to put it back together again? Yeah. If I open up this
like a control
Pandora's box of issues, am I going to be able to, oh no, what if I bring this up? The pain that lays in that box right there, I don't want to deal with it. So if I now open it, so after this session, an hour later, I'm at home by myself going through this. And this therapist is not here to hold my hand. Mr. Hold you through the dark. Where are you now?
Where's the torch?
Where's the torch?
Where the light?
Two things I want to touch on.
Turn on every light. Which one work?
Which one?
One, I thought it was important to bring you down, Nathaniel, because Christmas period, obviously COVID has made people spend a lot of time alone.
Yes.
And we're going into a period now where people are going to be alone even more potentially, right? And the other thing was, Harry, I just want to say I'm really proud of you for being so open about some of the feelings and things that you experience, especially with your platform. It's really important for other people to hear you say that you still struggle with things as well, because they probably think it's all rosy and gold, and that's not the truth. So I just want to applaud you for being vulnerable in that moment.
Yeah, thank you very much. And just
thank you.
I appreciate it, because something that I have always felt is that having a big platform, obviously you have a big reach, you know what I mean? There's people all around the world watching you, and like certain things that I get joy in and I appreciate is when people over my career, I've met people in different countries who have come up to me at different times from different ages that has said, thank you for your videos. They get me through my day. Thank you for your video. My partner's in hospital and all he watches is your videos all day. Wow. And it'll be a big thing if you can just even do another one today, because I know I'm going up there now. And if you did it, like some, just little things like that. And having one time I had a little girl when I met this little girl, when her and her mother stopped me, it changed something about how I do my videos as well, because she was a fan. The mother stopped me and she said, "See White Yardie," and I said, "Oh, what?" She said, "Yo, my daughter love you," and she said, "Oh my God," she was shaking everything, and she was young, like she couldn't be more than 8, maybe 7. She was like, "I love your videos," and that, and I was like, at that time in my career, it was like 5 years ago, I used to put out videos and I would swear, not a lot, but if I felt the need to, I would do it first. And from that day till now, I've never put out a video of a skit video or roasting video and sweared in it. Yeah. You understand? Like when I'm performing to adults, I might, but putting out stuff online, I have kept it clean, because if I know I got young people watching me as well, and as I said, these people enjoy. So I use my platform and I would talk about anything. I'm not just going to talk about comedy. I'm going to talk about anything.
That's why we're here.
Because I'm a human being as well. You understand? I'm a man, so I'm going to express feelings and everything. So that's why I use my platform to talk about like all these different type of things, man.
It's important for, just following on from what Remi Ray said, it's very important for other people to hear other people talk about it. Me as a psychotherapist, it's like, yo, you're talking about your job, innit?
Yeah.
But when other people talk about their struggles, it's very important because you're like, all right, I'm not alone. And that in itself is powerful.
Yeah.
It's powerful when you hear other people openly talk about it. And that may encourage someone to, you know what, maybe let me
go and check something
Let me
out.
go and talk to someone. Let me go and say something to someone. So for me, that's why I want people to genuinely talk about it more often. Because even in this room right now, we don't know what anybody's going through.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's smiling or whatever. We don't know what anybody's going through in the dark recesses of their spirit. So it's important for anyone listening to it, watching it, whatever it may be, to be like, all right, if you're not all right, it's cool. Talk, reach out to someone.
Yeah, like one question that I have, and I feel like there's a lot of people out there that could benefit from this, is that, like, how would you say for couples that they dealing with the person that has the mental problem? For example, like my partner, I know, and I spoke to her as well beforehand as well, because I would openly talk about my situation, but I don't openly talk about my partner's, because obviously that's hers. You understand?
It's her story.
But before if I'm going to, I will always ask for permission or consent.
Yeah, Harry, you've been growing, you know. You're a whole man now. You're a whole man.
But yeah, like, so, you know, I spoke to her and I was like, yo, I'm going to be talking about certain things there. Do you mind? And it's like, she was diagnosed with severe anxiety.
Yeah.
You understand? And as a partner, like, it's like, yo, every day I'm like, yeah, babes, you'll be all right. Don't worry, just do this. It's like, no, man, you're good, babe. I'm here. I love you. Like, no, babes, like, it's like, you can, there's only so much time you can say you'll be all right. But you telling them they're going to be all right is not going to change anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? That's so true. And thank you to your partner as well for agreeing for you to raise that, because anxiety is almost like one of the buzzwords of this year, apart from Brexit, lockdown, COVID, all of that. Anxiety is one of the ones, especially in mental health. And what you're raising is very important, because not only is your partner dealing with it, but you are dealing with it as well.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Exactly.
But no, obviously no. At the time, so let me make it clear.
No. But you know what? What you're saying, like, you don't know what to do.
It's honest as well. You just might not know what to do.
A lot of people don't know what to do. A lot of people don't know what to do.
Listen,
you know,
it got to a stage, where I actually have to Google.
Good.
And the Google said, just say you don't know.
Yes, Uncle Google is your friend, man.
So when one time, I remember what I told her, I said, babes, I don't know what to do.
Yes.
Help me help you.
Help me help you.
Yes, that's a big statement.
Man.
No, but that's true. But it's important to even hear you say that, because you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
If I open the you know what I mean, the bonnet of my car right now, and I say, you know what?
Leave the bonnet closed.
Sort out the engine or whatever.
Island,
you know what to do?
Island window washer.
Yeah, exactly.
That's as far as
you don't know what to do. And it's
right.
okay not to know what to do, because it's not your profession to know what to do. A mechanic deals with a car. A psychotherapist deals with the mind.
Yes.
You deal with loving and protecting and supporting your partner. That's what you guys are there for, the companionship, the love, right? So when she's dealing with something very specific like anxiety, right, it is about just being present. Even saying you don't know what to do is about being present and supporting her in so many different ways. Even without even saying anything. It's just supporting her so she doesn't have to deal with it by herself.
Yeah.
Right? That's very important for you to do.
I know what I'm doing, but I want him say, because when I hear from him, I might say, even though I'm doing. But I know what I did, and it started to make a change.
Yeah.
I think men also need to, when women are saying something is wrong, stop. All right. Like, okay, don't worry. Like, listen to your woman, because a lot of us are dealing with a lot, carrying a lot. There is a load a woman takes on, especially if she's a mum, a wife. And I think a lot of the time, well, my experience, I should speak from my experience, men are always like, or the ones I've dealt with, I should say, don't worry. And that is, like what you're saying, is I don't want to hear that. That's not what I'm, that is not helpful to me.
You know why that is, though?
Why?
In some cases, when you, a man and a woman talk, sometimes maybe pay attention to it. And just listen out to a man and woman talking sometimes, seriously. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes a woman will be talking about how she's feeling.
Yeah.
and the response from a man in some cases what he's thinking. So if you're saying to me, like, we can practice it now, tell me how you're feeling.
I'm very sad.
Oh, you know what I think you should do? I think you should just maybe watch a movie or something, play some music, or, do whatever.
So it's not questioning.
Yeah.
It's not connecting on that level.
Yeah.
She's talking on an emotional level.
Yeah, I'm saying, I'm sad. I'm feeling sad.
So she's speaking English and I'm speaking Swahili back to her, right?
It's a big thing.
So she's going to feel, in some case,
Google
unheard.
Translate.
Unheard.
Uncle Google won't be able to help you here.
No, it happens frequently.
Yeah, you will not feel heard. And in situations like that, some men are predisposed to being problem solvers. So if you say something about how you're feeling, how work was, this manager did this, that, and the other.
I've been there.
What you're saying is you are basically describing your feelings, what you're going through.
Yes.
And a man is hearing us like, all right, let me see now. Let me look into my toolbox. How can I fix this? So he wants to help you.
Yeah.
He wants to fix things for you. We want to make you feel better. But in some situations, you're not saying to me that, you know what, Nathaniel, I'm incapable of sorting my own situation.
In this moment,
this moment. What you're saying is, bro, just listen to me,
Yeah.
I've had a bad day. I want to moan right now.
Yeah.
And you just want me to be like, what? It did
Yeah.
what?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is what I say. I tell my girlfriends all the time,
Yeah.
everyone looking for man, and you need to know how to communicate. Communication is a big part of this, isn't it? It's being able to understand.
Listening is a part of communication.
Of course.
So if you feel, some guys might feel like, oh, when a woman, like we said, when a woman's talking to you, that you need to be talking back. Sometimes it's just about listening and being that person. So, and I've been in that situation where she's been telling me about her day, and I look like I'm occupied doing other things. And it's like, I know it's frustrating, but it's like over time, it's like, all right, cool. Yep, you got my attention.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to know it more, like what you just said.
Yeah.
And like what I did with the anxiety side of it for her, because she was doing this around her when she was studying for being a midwife, and it was like, she was like, oh, I don't want to go in today. And I said, babe, just do it, man. You can be fine. Man.
Remove your emotions. That's what I got a lot.
I think you'll be good, man. Don't worry. Like, I'll be when she come home, it's like
deflated.
She don't feel good.
Yeah.
And what I started to do is, like, I realized, like, all right, cool. As I said, I don't know what to do. Help me. So what I started to realize is that by giving her less things to think about and trying to limit it down to just what the problem is. So when she comes home, she don't have to worry about the children. She don't have to worry about the house. She don't have to worry about me. Nothing else. I took all that responsibility on and said, I'm taking all of this stuff now. It's not 50-50. It's all me. You just have to worry about your diploma. That's that's what you're going for. So that's what. So I'm here to support you, listen to you, whatever problems you're having. But in terms of fixing it, I don't think I can fix this one. And that's what I did, and I feel like it helped her because now she has less things to worry about. I made sure everything was done. You just this is your focus now. Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
So that's what I did.
Well, my thought on anxiety. Anxiety is one of the topics in which I care greatly about because it is prevalent. Right now, it's prevalent everywhere. Even prior to COVID, it was prevalent. In the last 5 years, you probably heard anxiety more than you did 10 years ago.
Massive.
And what is happening there is anxiety in itself. The way anxiety functions is, I think the brain is probably the most sophisticated creation ever in the history of man, in my view. And the brain, we're still discovering about the brain. So certain things happens is that when you feel in danger or your brain senses something that potentially could harm you, your brain is like, say nothing, I've got you. Right? So your brain is now sending certain chemicals or signals to certain parts of your body to prepare you for war. So your brain is sensing, okay, something is scaring you here. All right, so what we're going to do? So it sends certain chemicals to you. So your body is either tense, so you go through 3 stages. You've got flight, fight, and freeze. So your reaction could be, I'm ready to run, or I'm ready to fight. Or in some cases, we're affected by freezing in that moment, not knowing what to do, right? But that's your brain sending certain signals to your body to say, listen, something's about to happen that is worrying this guy. What are we going to do? They have a little meeting and they're like, all right, this is what we're going to do. Let's get ready for it. Right? It's like ant and deck, innit? Let's get ready to rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. The situation goes up in there. So for your partner, I don't know what it is. There's something. So that's why I created a little program, a little step for anxiety. It's just a basic one to be able to flesh it out. And it may be something for her to do at home, which is, I call it the 3 C's. So it's like 3 C's: check it, challenge it, and change it. So check it is, have you ever been in a situation when someone is feeling anxious, but they don't know why? They're like, I don't know why, I'm just feeling anxious. It's like, all right, we can explore that. Check it. And check it is asking certain questions. What are you feeling? Why are you feeling this way? When did this start? So you're doing a little investigation of understanding it. It's like, Sunday night, I'm feeling anxious. Why are you feeling anxious Sunday night? I don't know why. I don't know why.
Tomorrow.
Okay. Work is Monday morning. You've had a weekend of chilling, and now you have to face this thing that you're not looking forward to. So it's about identifying it. The next part of it is challenge it. And challenge is one of the most important things in psychotherapy, because we have our own view of certain things in our minds that we haven't even processed. But you hear certain words and it takes you to certain things. Like with me, I smell Dax. It takes me back to college days.
Yes.
Doesn't like the
smell brush in your back pocket.
Listen, I couldn't afford the brush then, but anyway, started from this bottom. Now we're here. So like certain things, certain senses are triggered. So certain words may come up for you, and you're like, "Why am I feeling this way?" But challenging it means you are now gonna say, "All right, you know what? My fear is sitting right in front of me. Say, hello, fear. How you doing? You all right? So why are you here?" And the fear will break it down for you. Well, I'm here because, you're worried about work tomorrow and you're scared that you're going to go to work, you're going to be miserable. And every time you go to work is a realization that you're not fulfilling your own path and what you want to do. And you always feel down and bad about yourself because you feel you're a failure for doing this work, even though you wanted to do something else. And you just start understanding and you challenge it. Challenging it is like saying, how realistic is this fear from happening? How realistic is it? I'm scared I'm going to lose my job. Based on what? Well, because my manager said we've got a meeting tomorrow morning. Okay. How realistic is it that you're going to get sacked? What other potential reasons could there be? Have you had a disciplinary issue? No. Has your manager any reason to cuss you out? No. Have you failed to do something? No. So by challenging it, you can now say, actually, the possibility of me getting sacked tomorrow is actually lower than I thought. So in that moment, the last C is change it. Change it means take all the lessons you've learned from challenging it and say, all right, it's not realistic that I'm going to get sacked tomorrow. Cool. It could just be about whatever it may be. Is there anything I can do about this meeting tomorrow? If there's been no topic to talk about it, the answer is no. I've got nothing to worry about, nothing to think about.
Could also ask your manager to send you an agenda.
You can ask, and that's the other part of challenging it. You can say, all right, is there anything I can do to mitigate this fear?
Yeah.
My fear is this. Like exams is an easy one, right? I'm anxious about going to school or studying because I may fail my exams. So that's check it. You're asking questions. What is it about? When did it start? Is related to your education. All right, cool. Challenge it. How realistic is it that you're going to fail your exam? Well, I don't know. Yeah, I may do, I may not. Okay, what can I do to mitigate this fear occurring? Well, I can study more. Okay, the last C is change it. Do that.
Yeah.
Take the action from what you've learned from challenging whatever is the cause of your anxiety, and then you'll be able to put that in place. And before you realize it, your fear will start dissipating because you're doing something about it. Or you've challenged and you realize that this is just in my mind rather than based in reality. So those are the 3 C's to go through it. Check it, just asking a series of questions, challenge it. How realistic is this in happening? Like really, how realistic is it? She's studying to be a midwife. What is going on for her that is making her quite anxious? Am I good enough? Am I going to pass this? Should I be doing this? Am I wasting my time? Do I feel like I'm not good at this? Or what? So many things are going on there that may even be linked to historic things.
Yeah.
Where she's been in certain situations and she's maybe not felt good enough. Right? And this is triggering that same feeling that she's had historically. So now she's
sometimes it's trauma.
Yeah, the trauma from it is being reignited by different things.
Yeah.
But like you said, if you don't know what to do, you're doing brilliantly by just being there and say, listen, I don't know what to do. What can I do?
She's been working for you.
There you go. There you
this
go.
was a couple of years ago.
This is a couple of years, but it's like a good example of how that may manifest.
No, definitely.
I love the fact that you put yourself out there as well. Actually, I had a panic attack for the first time this year, just from strain, stress, and other bits and pieces that are going on in my life. But if you've never had one before, honestly, like you don't. People would
describe it.
I couldn't breathe. Like. And then I was like hyperventilating. It was just like I wanted to move, but I couldn't move. I was just stuck. It was just it didn't last very long, that kind of like intensity, but I just was like, my chest was like pulsating. I never experienced anything like that before. And one of my best friends always used to say like, I feel like I'm having an attack, a panic attack or whatever it is. When we were really young, I used to say,
unless you have one, I think it's not like...
Listen, unless you had one.
Yeah, same with anxiety. Unless, because for me, again, I just didn't get it. I couldn't understand
it is hard.
What is stop, get in the car and drive.
You don't want it.
You know what I mean?
It can be disabling.
You have it yourself.
I didn't I guess that's a panic attack, right? I'm describing.
What you're describing could be a panic attack in which, in that situation of being overwhelmed, everything is coming up.
It was too much.
And the problem is that you've got air. We've all got oxygen around us, right? But in that moment, you're like, I can't breathe.
I couldn't catch my breath. I just couldn't catch my breath. It's horrible. So if people are, saying to you, these kind of words or, depression, anxiety and things of that nature, do take a little bit of heed, especially over this period, just throughout this whole entire year, really. I wanted to segue not quickly, but into a conversation around domestic violence. We've heard that there's been major increases since COVID lockdown has taken place, and people are really, the stats have come out saying that like it's immense what's been happening in the households. I just wanted to hear your thoughts.
Like I said earlier, doing domestic, working with perpetrators of violence or abuse generally, but also with domestic abuse, is a field in which I've been working in for the last 12 years, specifically. And what you find within that is right now, it's the perfect storm, right? The perfect storm. We're all locked in because Boris said we have to be. So we're all locked
Boris
in.
On me.
So we're all in the house. Work said I'm on furlough. Which means I've got time at home. Now, we're all locked in here, and certain behavior that existed anyway prior to lockdown,
you didn't really see because you were at work.
You are at work, or is lessened, or it comes out in different ways. But now, imagine being that person that sat there thinking, okay, we're on lockdown for 3 months. This is the same home I can go to. I can't go anywhere else because I can't afford it. All right. Or I've got children and I'm scared to leave this house, or I've got no options. Right. Or even people with options, the fear of leaving a partner. There's a lot there because we all judge, right? Where it's like, why didn't you leave him? We don't know the intricacies of dealing with something like that, because this person may represent your hopes and dreams. And it's like, I'm not giving up on this relationship so easily, so quickly.
Or family pressures as well.
Family pressures, cultural issues as well. So much so. So for me, anyone going through it, I think the most important thing is men or women that recognize themselves as being perpetrators, right, of domestic abuse need to seek help for it. And all I'm saying here is you can change your abusive behavior, right? I love that. You can.
Because I think people, once they go down that rabbit hole, especially, the social media world, once you've done something wrong, it's very hard to come back from that. So I was smiling because I think that's important. You can change your behavior.
You can. And for me, it's not just me saying it as someone that's worked in the field for 12 years. There's been many, many reports that's been done, research done in regards to the efficacy of talking therapy in dealing with violent or abusive behavior. So there's certain programs like the one I've got in my company called the Halcyon program, where it is a 30-session program where you've got 15 sessions of one-to-one therapy followed by 15 sessions of group therapy, where you are directly working on your abusive behavior, the presentation, the origin, the history behind it. What are the triggers? What are your warning signs in understanding that? And what I've identified is a lot of the abusive behavior stems from what I call vulnerable feelings. We've got vulnerable feelings where we don't want to deal with it.
Can we call it, is that ego-ish as well, maybe?
What there may be, ego for me is quite restrictive in regards to a lot of people when they hear ego, they have certain views of it.
Yeah, Kanye West.
What I talk about is vulnerable feelings.
Okay.
So imagine feeling, there's a reminder here. Just imagine your phone has got a reminder, it's got an alarm. And every time the reminder goes off, it says, you're worthless. You're not good enough. I don't respect you. I don't value you. You're a waste. Or whatever it is. So imagine that being triggered by whatever it may have been. You want to stop that alarm, don't you? That reminder, you want to lock it off or whatever it is. So when you're in a situation, when some, not all, when some of these people are in the situations like that, their reaction is like, okay, how can I shut this down? All right, this person is winning the argument. In my mind, winning an argument, right? Argument is about an exchange of opinions, right? But you thinking of it as I'm losing, right? This person, this woman is getting the better of me, and that is triggering all those little reminders I told you. You've got your alarm, which says you're rubbish, you're worthless. What kind of a man are you? All of that, you interpret it a certain way
and internalize it.
You internalize it, and you don't want to deal with that so much. So there's all right, what can I do to stop this feeling? All right, let me stop that alarm that I think is the one reminding me of these vulnerable feelings. So my behavior now is to empower myself, because now I feel powerless because this person is telling me rightly about myself, right?
Things you haven't dealt with, right? Things you haven't healed from.
Things you haven't healed from, but she may just be talking about a certain conversation and you've interpreted that conversation as being attacked.
Or he.
Have you ever heard the saying, in Jamaica they say it quite a lot, a woman's strength is her mouth, they always saying.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
He's experienced it probably.
No, because you know it is because obviously in certain cultures we it's not say it's part of the culture, but there's more like tolerance of it. Should I say like people will know it's happening. Like domestic violence is in Jamaica, it's not so much that I wouldn't even know it was called domestic violence till I feel it like come to England.
Okay.
So in Jamaica, it would just be like, yo, the woman a fight again, man. The man him beat the woman last night. Me say she do this and do that. And then there's other situations where like that's why they were bringing and say, yeah, because she always accost him and I call him workless and I call him this. You don't know say woman strength of them mouth. When you hear a woman attack, you should just leave them alone. And them use their mouth to get you angry and then you react. So,
but that is hello. Huh? A man should have some restraint to not
Exactly.
beat a woman because her mouth's going
exactly.
up.
And what I'm saying is that back to what you're saying about when the woman's talking, it could be like he's looking at this like he's being put down. Everything she's saying sounds like
that's what he's saying. It's like
and he wants it, like you said, he wants it to stop.
Yeah, in his mind, and I think
or hers.
There's a Duluth method. Which came from Minnesota. So this is just something that was done probably about 30 years ago, looking into abusive behavior.
What method?
Duluth model.
What is that? Is that the name of it?
Yeah, it's the name of the place where they did the research. Okay. And within that model, what's identified is there's a lot of control and power involved in the behavior of being a perpetrator of abuse. So whatever it may be, you are interpreting it as I'm losing power. Or I'm losing control.
Yeah.
So this person may just be saying something to you, but your interpretation is very important. How do you interpret this person telling you how they're feeling? You are interpreting it either as an attack or I'm losing power here. How can I gain power? Absolutely. So it could be a male or a female perpetrator of domestic abuse. How can I gain power of this situation again? Because I don't want to feel powerless and I'm losing control in this situation. And with men, predominantly with male perpetrators of domestic abuse, physical abuse is what I call the equalizer. I feel like I'm powerless. I'm losing control. How can I gain that back? Let me use my physical strength, my equalizer, in order for me to be able to get back. Or, I'm back ahead right now. So that's what you notice in situations like that.
Some of this also, right, comes from learned behavior. I don't think that enough is I don't think there's enough discussion around learned behavior. Like those people could have really seen their parents, parents or whatever being abusive and just thought it was normal, and nobody's ever corrected them or said that that's not.
Well, I can openly say I've come from my mother, my father. Yeah, domestic violence was big. My father used to beat my mother, like literally, like sometimes I wonder if he want to kill her. You get me? And I've witnessed that, but. You know when they say how if you come from that home, automatically, like, not automatically, but there's a high percentage that the man will grow up and be like that as well.
Yeah.
That's not the case because I've never hit my partner. Never. Like I've got it with in any relationship. You get in situations where you might have to like restrain each other or just like relax because it gets heated, but I have never, ever, and my father, as I said, like, I love my father regardless of what, but I have come from that household. I have seen it. I've seen my father pull knife, gun, any weapon him can grab.
How did that feel for you though, seeing that as a child?
Talk to him.
You know, at that stage, I don't know. I would have, that's something maybe I've seen and got through. But for me, like, it wasn't nice because I always felt like I was my mother's protector.
Okay.
Because every time it's happening, I wanted to be where my mother is.
All right.
Like, I remember one time, like, I seen it where he's coming and drunk, drive up, and this is back in Jamaica, and I know straight away what time it is when he comes in. He's angry, he's drunk, alcohol is involved now. He's coming and try to attack my mother, and I jumped in front and I took the hit.
Yeah.
You hear me? So I feel like maybe, like, would have to reflect back on that properly, but
yeah.
I didn't like it at the time, obviously not. I didn't like it.
No. I think you have, thank you for
Yeah.
that, by the way. But
let me tell you something, man. Sorry.
It's all right, go for it.
I am not got nothing to hide. If something about 2020 has taught me, stop hiding. Don't keep anything in.
Yeah.
Like, just be an open book, man. You get me? And then this is who I am. I have nothing to hide. And that's me,
and
man.
you're growing.
There's a lot of growth in what you're saying. And for me, it's so important to hear that, because what you're describing to me is, now, you may think that your mom is the one that's been abused, right? But you've been abused as well.
Yeah.
And what happens is we've got something called emotional abuse, right? Or vicarious abuse. Vicarious abuse could happen if me just watching somebody get hit. And I'm a child, I'm in that home. So I'm being abused, not only emotionally by seeing that, by enduring that, by experiencing the fear
Invasion
of seeing
peace.
that. But also your mom is being affected by it directly, and the way she may treat you, not naturally or deliberately, you'll be affected by her not being at her best as a mother in dealing with you in moments afterwards, right? So vicariously you've been affected in that regards, but also emotionally seeing that to me, even listening to you describe it, is so clear in your mind right now that you can actually see it. So imagine a memory that's so fixed in your mind, and you ask the question about what, when people grow up in that environment, are they going to repeat the same pattern? The answer to that is we do not know until we look at how that person interpreted it. Yeah. Some children normalize that behavior.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? So it's normalized. It's like, all right, when the clouds are dark, it's going to rain.
Yeah.
So that's what usually happens. The end. That's the lesson for today, guys, right? So if you're seeing that and you say, all right, well, this is what love is. This is what marriage is. This is what adult life is.
Yep.
And you normalize that. Like when we argue, we don't agree with each other. I can hit you. You can hit me. All right, cool. Say nothing.
I say I love you and
that I love you and everything is okay. You've normalized that. Right? But for you, listening to you right there, what came out was your interpretation of that was a little bit different. Your interpretation of that seemed to me as if you took on the role as protector. So in that situation, because of your closeness to your mom, you interpreted that as something that's terrible and shouldn't happen. Your close bond for your mom taught you so much in regards to that now you may find yourself as an adult. That is the lesson you may have taken from it. The lesson is, this is bang out of order. I won't do that. I'm going to protect. Right? But what I would say to a lot of people that have experienced that is, this is not about judgment. This is not about saying you are this, you are that. Because what happens there is you drive people into the darkness. They don't deal with it. They don't want to even mention it. They control the partner, make the partner feel a certain way about speaking up or whatever. So for me, the reason why I speak about it so openly is encourage people to seek help with it. Because it's not, and for anyone that's gone through it, I don't want to be minimizing this or belittling this. But to the perpetrators, male or female listening, you are suffering by you behaving that way. You may not even realize it, you may not think it, but you are suffering because every time you do that, the effect on your mental health, yourself, the way you feel about yourself, you are internalizing that, and you are basically providing the evidence to yourself that you're not good. Right? So when you do feel down or whatever it is.
Wait a minute.
It's like that was a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm like, all right, I'm a waste man. All right, I'm behaving like a waste man. I told you I'm a waste man. There you go. And all those things you don't want to hear about yourself, you are actualizing it in your behavior. Come and seek help about it. Talk about it. We'll be able to explore how to change that behavior. Certain strategies can be put in place
where
you can actually manage when you can recognize when it's happening, when you're about to lose control.
Yeah.
Take time out from it in order for you to regulate yourself, go back into that situation.
Yeah.
But this takes time.
Yes.
You know, when you're talking about learned behavior, perfect. So if you've learned something, it's like me saying to you, you speak in patois all your life. And now I said, now speak French to me, my brother. You be like, what? You have to learn it. Unlearn it. Hey, bonjour.
Create the habit.
Create the habit and learn something new and actually recognize that the behavior you're mirroring potentially was not a positive one.
And might not even be who you really are.
What, you know,
it's just what you've now wrapped yourself in.
What you've learned.
This is how you've had to operate. Like, you may not even be this person, but it's what you've had to protect yourself with over the years to be able to show up as White Yardie.
Yeah, it's never too late for you to seek help with anything, especially with that. You know, learned behavior can be unlearned with new learned behavior.
I love that. Yeah. Just before we wrap up, I guess I just want to ask, do you have any more questions? That I think you got 1,000. You need to book a session.
I've loads. No, but there was another sign of mental illness that talking about, and it's actually to do with mothers and babies. There's this one where
depression?
No, it's one, I forgot what it's called.
Postpartum depression, where after they're giving birth.
No, it's something to do where they believe the baby's trying to kill them.
All right. So after it could be type of postpartum depression.
Yeah, like,
which means after the giving birth.
I forgot what it's called now.
Yeah. It could be postnatal depression as well, postpartum. And it happens with some mothers where they are mentally affected by that whole process. And in some cases, it can exhibit in itself in which you have intrusive thoughts. And the intrusive thoughts could be, oh no, what if I harm my child?
Yeah, I've heard that.
What if I do something to the baby? And these thoughts are going through your mind constantly. And you're so terrified of those thoughts. You're like, what if I actually do it? So the depressive, it could be a depressive episode of it.
Yeah, but the one I'm talking about is I wish I remember the name. It's the one where the woman feels like the baby is trying to kill her. It's called Psych. She told me the name, because she's a midwife, so she knows about these ones. And she was trying to break it down to me. I was like, what do you mean the women think the baby? She said there's been reports of women who have jumped off of buildings and left the baby because they feel the baby is going to kill them.
Well, it seems like a non-self psychosis.
I was going to say.
So it could be a psychosis.
I think of that one there.
So it could be acute psychosis where it just happens, right? So you've got chronic ones that's been going on for a long time. But you've got acute ones. Basically, don't let anyone try and be smart with you. Acute basically means it's happened suddenly.
Yeah.
And, and people, you're like, you're acute. So it sounds all, all smart. Yeah. That's all it means. It just means it's a sudden onset of that thing. Right, that chronic means it's ongoing. It's been going on for a long time. So it could be acute psychosis where something has happened, something has prompted it, the childbirth or whatever it is, and the psychosis is developed from it. So when you're talking about, you can hear voices, intrusive thoughts, voices that may be so real you believe it's happening in the room, you believe it's happening there. So help can be sought with that. Just for me, it's like when we're going through certain things that don't feel quite right, let's just speak about it and just seek help from it. And that is treatable, in which you can go and see your GP initially. After you see your GP can refer you.
Free,
of course. Come on now. Free NHS can refer you to community mental health teams someone will speak to you, go through an assessment of you, and then they'll start looking at what treatment plans could be available to you. It could be talking therapies, medication, and for them to be monitoring it to see how well it's doing, right? What the effect is on you. So help can be sought for all those things.
I want to debunk some myths quickly around medication, especially within the Black community.
Yeah.
I feel like white people tend to have a bit more of a handle with the medication standpoint. That's a generalization, so don't shoot me. But I feel like Black people, especially around the people that I know, there's a massive stigma around taking medication for support with like mental health issues and things.
Yes.
A lot of people, Black community, period, point blank, there has been conversations for years around, don't take the medication, and people need the medication sometimes. Like, is there anything that you could just speak on in regards to medication, what maybe to look out for, or what questions to ask about maybe if they do need to take medication or they've been diagnosed and medication is what they're suggesting.
Well, what I would say is that I'm going to debunk some, but I'm also going to validate some.
Okay. So there's mindfulness there, yeah?
Yeah. So what I would say is in regards to taking medication, if you've got a headache, period cramps, or whatever it is, you're popping that paracetamol or ibuprofen or whatever it is to help with the swelling and bloating and all of that, right? So with certain degree of mental health issues, what has been prescribed, like with depression, it's been shown that medication can actually alleviate some of the depressive symptoms.
Some.
Yeah, some of it. But what I believe is you've got talking, for me, in isolation, taking medication, I don't believe that in itself solves the issue. Because if you've got trauma that you're dealing with, and you're feeling depressed, you're feeling low, and medication makes you feel a little bit better, that trauma that's going on hasn't been addressed.
Just covering it.
It's just covering it with it, you know what I mean? So for me, that's why I said I'll debunk some and I'll validate some. What has been shown is that in some cases, some Black people, when it comes to treatment, are being prescribed more medication rather than talking therapists initially. So that's why I said I'll validate some and I'll debunk some.
Yeah.
Medication could be a good part of the treatment plan.
Are you suggesting then second opinions?
What I would say in situations like that is nobody can force you to take any medication. Yeah. What they will do is they may prescribe you something and say, okay, this may help you.
Yeah.
Try it out for a while. We'll see whether it's working, whether we need to increase or decrease the dosage. And that is part of what doctors do. They're trying to make you feel better.
This is why you being also in these kind of professions and Black people being in these professions are also helpful because, there's a lot of research now being done around the feelings of Black people. Well,
historically, there's the stats, men lie, women lie, numbers seemingly do not.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on how you interpret the figures.
If they can't count it,
if they can't count or if they make it work for themselves.
Yeah.
But when it comes to that, there is a lot of Black people at a higher rate are hospitalized into the mental health system, right? A lot of Black people with arrest, with stop and search, with schooling, with exclusion, all of that, more sentences, all of that. So with mental health specifically as well, what has been shown is that predominantly more than the average, than the population of Black people are being put into those institutions. So that's the reality of it. The question is why? Now, when we think about it, we think about institutions, and people think about institutions as these faceless places. Nothing is faceless. This building we're in may be a structure, but it's people within it that operate it. So as long as you've got people in a certain community or in a certain country, that you're going to have people that have got certain views.
Yeah.
And some of that, unfortunately, can be racist views. Right? Or not understanding certain people's cultures.
Yeah.
Like, if you go around my people, my Nigerian people, if you don't know anything about Nigerian people, you're thinking that we're about to shoot each other because we're arguing, because the volume is so high. Like, what are you talking about? But when you understand the culture, you know that is passion. That's just people naturally conversing.
Yeah.
So imagine sometimes behavior is interpreted as aggression where it isn't. So in regards to medication, please look into every medication you take. You make that decision for yourself. Yeah. But what I would do is I would suggest looking at talking therapists to look at the underlying issues and medication that may help you along with it. So it's there's synergy between the two to be able to help you with that process.
Last question, sorry. I know we got to get out of here, but cost. A lot of people are afraid to enter or participate in support in this capacity because of money. I had a challenge recently on social media called the Pay It Forward Challenge, and we sent 27 women over to have an introductory session with a therapist, a Black woman. A lot of Black women told me they couldn't find a Black woman therapist. They wanted a relatability, somebody who had a similar background or understanding. But most of the questions I got was around how much does it cost?
Yes. It depends.
Of course, it varies.
It depends where you go to. The same way if you go to a restaurant Oaken Road or you go to a restaurant up in Chelsea or whatever.
You're talking about 825, are you?
No, I'm not familiar with any restaurant name. I eat at home.
I think your sanity has no
price.
Yes, yeah. That's a good point. But not everybody can afford it, and that's That's the unfortunate thing for me.
Layaway,
payment plan and everything.
Payment plan, yeah.
But yeah, the prices range. But what you will find is where a lot of people are reporting is if you go to the GP, they'll put you on there to see someone.
Yeah.
But the waiting list is long.
It can be long, yeah.
Right? So you're in a situation where you feel you may be going through crisis. Still go to the GP because if you're going through crisis, there may be emergency spaces in which they can support you.
Yeah.
But if you're seeking therapy, just go online. You've got different places in which you can look at.
Yeah, I'll link some of the resources
them to
as
that,
well. Yeah.
And if you need therapy from my organization, it's called Talking Therapy Clinic. You go to our website, talkingtherapyclinic.co.uk, and you'll be able to find that
free stuff on there as well.
Yeah, free information, free resources. Do your depressive test and assessment to see. Hold on a minute, how am I feeling right now?
Follow you on the gram because you do your IG live.
Yes, the Talking Therapist is called, and we do IG live every Sunday at 6 p.m. on different topics. I've got a couple of new topics that you've brought up today that I may have to start looking at bringing up actually. So in regards to that, we have an hour in which we can just talk about anything.
Me help the
of course. I think you've helped a lot of people, me included, because what you're describing is so prevalent and it's so important, and a lot of people are dealing with it and they're just smiling and like that, and you're like, hold on a minute, you know that they're going through it, but it's there. It's within you. It's part of that makeup.
I have to give credit to my partner with a lot of things, man. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't be in the place I am now. So my partner gets a lot of credit from me. And man, them out there, keep telling you, man.
Yeah.
Find yourself a good woman and keep her beside you and in front of you and behind you and all over. Yeah. Trust me.
Okay. We're wrapping up now. How can people find you? Just IG or
they can find me Instagram
website
on the Talking Therapist. My website is talkingtherapyclinic.co.uk. That's the company's website, and that's basically about it. On Twitter as well is Talking Therapy C. That's it.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll link everything. Also, if you're a black woman out there, you don't want to talk to a man, or even just a woman, I have a black therapist, Caribbean heritage, so you can DM me as well. I'll put everything in the show notes.
And so woman them out there, if you want your man go out therapy or get counseling, cause him energy and vibe, I tell you, I feel like enough man will talk to you.
Harry's booking a session.
That's the hope. That's the hope.
Can't tell, man.
That's the hope.
So thank you for listening. Catch you soon. Peace.